Hello everyone, I welcome you all for the course Engineering Metrology. So this is the second lecture and the topic of surface texture. So the contents of the today's topic are recalling of the lecture 1, and then we'll discuss the orders of geometrical irregular lay, and then we'll discuss the evaluation of the surface finish, and then we will summarize the today's topic contents. So this is the lecture 1. So whatever may be the manufacturing process used, it may be primary manufacturing or secondary manufacturing. So it is not possible to produce a component with a perfectly smooth surface. That is, a geometrically ideal surface is not generated. So always exists some imperfections and irregularities on the geometrical surface. So the manufactured surface always departs from the absolute perfection to some extent as the vertical deviations of a measured surface. So these irregularities on the surface are in the form of a succession of hills and valleys by varying in both height and the spacing. So these irregularities are usually termed as the surface roughness and surface finish, surface texture or surface quality. So this surface texture affects the various properties. So it affects the appearance, that is aesthetic appearance of the product, and corrosion resistance affects, wear resistance affect, fatigue resistance affect, lubrication, initial tolerance, ability to hold the pressure, load carrying capacity, noise reduction in case of gears, etc. And the factors affecting the surface roughness are one is vibrations will affect, material of the workpiece will affect, and the type of machining also affects, rigidity of the machine tool, fixture, cutting tool, and work also affects, and the type of cutting tool, form of cutting tool, material of the cutting tool, and the sharpness of the cutting tool also affects. Cutting conditions like speed, feed, and depth of cut also affects, and the type of the coolant used also affects. So these are the reasons for controlling the surface texture. One is to improve the surface life of the components. We need to control. We need to control for improving the fatigue resistance of the component, and to reduce the initial wear of the parts, and to maintain the close dimensional tolerances on the parts, and to reduce the frictional wear, reduce the corrosion by minimizing the depth of irregularities, and for a good appearance. And if the surface is not smooth enough, the moving parts can heat up due to friction, and also sometimes freezing takes place. Similarly, if there is excessive surface roughness on the shafts or in the bearings, what happens? They consume the more power for operation. So these are the terminologies. So we understood what is surface texture. So it is the repetitive or random deviations from the nominal surface that forms the pattern of the surface. So surface texture encompasses, one is roughness, waviness, lay, and flaws. So roughness, what is surface roughness? Surface roughness is due to finer irregularities. So these irregularities are resulting from the inherent action of the production process. So like a tool chatter or transfer speed marks causes the finer irregularities. And what is roughness spacing? It is the distance between the successive peaks or ridges that constitute the predominant pattern of roughness. And what is roughness height? So it is the arithmetic average deviation measured in micrometers, which is perpendicular to the center line. That is measured perpendicular to the center line. And what is the traversing length? It is the length of the profile necessary for the evaluation of the surface roughness parameters. So the traversing length may include one or more sampling lengths. Now we can define what is sampling length. So it is the length of the profile that is necessary for the evaluation of the irregularities to be taken into account. So this sampling length can also be called as a cutoff length. And we can define what is lay. So lay is the direction of the predominant surface pattern. So that is determined by the production process used for manufacturing of the component. So we use the symbols to represent a lace of surface pattern. And what is waviness? So waviness is measurement of the more widely spaced component of surface texture. So that is the irregularities whose spacing is greater than the roughness sampling length. We can consider as a waviness. So this is due to the machine or work deflections, chatter, residual stresses, vibrations, or heat treatment. So waviness is an error in form due to incorrect geometry of the tool producing the surface. So due to vibration and chatter. So what is the spacing of waviness? It is the width between the successive wave peaks and successive wave valleys. So we have the a peak point and then it is a valley point, and then again it is a peak point and then valley. So it is the width between the two successive peak points or two successive valley points of the waves. And what is flaw? Flaw is the irregularities that occur infrequently. So because of some specific causes such as scratch marks, cracks, pits, and blemishes, and a surface finish. This is referred to as overall texture of the surface, and it is a combination of the three factors. One is surface roughness, waviness, and lay. Coming to the orders of geometrical irregularities. So in that first one is first order geometrical irregularities. We have four types of geometrical irregularities. First one is the first order geometrical irregularities. So these are the irregularities caused by the inaccuracies in the machine tool itself. Suppose if there is a irregularities caused due to the lack of straightness of guideways. So we have a flat guideways. So if there is any error in the flatness of the guideway, so because the cutting tool follows the guideway path. So if there is any error in the straightness of the guideways, so on which the tool must move, causes the irregularities. That is called the first order geometrical irregularities. And the surface irregularities arising due to the deformation of the work under the action of cutting forces. So here the workpiece is there. So workpiece is subjected to some cutting force, right? So this will changes the position of the workpiece. That means the workpiece is deformed due to the cutting force. So that causes the irregularities. That is also comes under first order irregularities due to self weight of the material itself. So causes the irregularities or the deformation or deflection takes place. So deflection of the workpiece takes place due to self weight of the material when it is rotating about its one axis. So these are the causes of the first order geometrical irregularities. One is the lack of straightness of the guideways, right? Second one is the deformation of the workpiece, and due to self weight of the material itself causes the first order irregularities. And the second order irregularities. These are the irregularities caused by the vibrations of any kind. So due to vibrations of the cutting tool material or vibrations of the workpiece, vibrations of the machines transferred to the workpiece or cutting tool causes the chatter marks on the surface of the parts. So this comes under second order irregularities. So the first order and the second order irregularities are termed as secondary texture. Secondary texture or waviness. Secondary texture or waviness. Next, coming to the third order irregularities, these are the irregularities caused by machining due to the characteristics of the process. Suppose feed marks of the cutting tool. So due to imperfect speed, feed or depth of cut causes the feed marks on the geometrical surface. So that is called the third order geometrical irregularities. And what is the fourth order geometrical irregularities? The irregularities caused by the rupture of the material during the separation of the chip. Okay, so this third order and fourth order irregularities are termed as the primary texture. Primary texture, or we call it as roughness. We call it as roughness. So primary texture is also called the roughness. Okay, the irregularities on the surface of the part produced can be grouped into two categories. First category is primary texture or surface roughness. So these are the surface irregularities of small wavelength. So these are caused by the direct action of cutting elements on the material. So this includes the third order and fourth order irregularities. And the second category is secondary texture, that is waviness. So these are the irregularities of considerable wavelength of periodic character. So these are caused by the inaccuracies of slides, wear of guideways, misalignment of centers, vibrations, deformation of the work, etc. So this includes the irregularities of first and the second order. First and the second order. So this is the graphical representation of the orders of geometrical irregularities. That is both the primary texture and the secondary texture. So this is the normal section and this is the nominal surface. So nominal surface is the surface with no irregularities. And this is the irregular surface. Surface is with some irregularities are produced. So this is the direction of the lay. Direction of the lay. And these are the some flaws. Okay, this is the original profile and this is the waviness profile. So in this, the lengths of the peaks or valleys are larger than the lengths of the peaks or valleys of the roughness profile. Okay, in the roughness profile, the valleys and peaks are very small, but whereas here the length is very large. So if the length is very large when compared to the roughness profile, then it is called the waviness profile. Coming to the sampling length and lay. What is sampling length? So it is the length of the profile necessary for the evaluation of the irregularities to be taken into account. How many irregularities you are considering in the sampling length? That is known as cutoff length. So it is related to the process employed for finishing the workpiece. So generally we use the standard lengths are 0.08, 0.25, 0.8, 2.5 and 25 mm standard lengths. And what is lay? So lay, it is the direction of the predominant surface pattern produced by the tool marks or scratches. So it is determined by the method of production used. And this is the types of lays. So if we represent the lay is by two parallel lines, then it represents lay is approximately parallel to the line representing the surface to which the symbol is applied. Okay, this is the representation of the parallel surface. Parallel surface. Lay is approximately parallel to the line representing the surface. So the lay is parallel, approximately parallel. Suppose if we use this symbol, perpendicularity symbol, that means the lay is approximately perpendicular to the line representing the surface. And if it is a cross mark, then it indicates the lay is angular in both the directions to the line representing the surface. And if it is represented by M, then it is called the multi-directional. So neither parallel nor perpendicular, right? It may be a multi-directional. Lay is multi-directional. And if it is represented by C, then lay is approximately circular related to the center of the surface. And R is, if you represent with R, so it is a lay approximately radial relative to the center of the surface. Next, coming to the evaluation of surface finish. So we use the three methods for evaluating the primary texture or surface roughness of the surface. So one is peak to valley height method. Another one is the average. So second one is the average roughness. This average roughness is assessed by using the three methods. One is the center line average method. So that is RA value. And then a root mean square method. In this we can calculate or assess the surface roughness is RQ, and the 10-point height method. So in this we assess the RZ value. So RA value is assessed by the central line average method, and RQ value is assessed by means of root mean square, and RZ value is assessed by using the 10-point height method. And the third method is form factor or bearing curve. So these are the three methods we adopt for evaluating the surface roughness or primary texture of the surface. So the first method is peak to valley height method roughness. So in this method, it measures the maximum depth of the surface irregularities over a given sample length. So this, what is the maximum depth of the surface irregularities? Maximum depth. Okay. Maximum depth of the surface irregularities. Over a given sampling length, and the largest value of the depth is accepted as a measurement of roughness. Suppose we have the, let us, this is 15 microns, and this is 18 microns, and this is let us 22 microns. Okay, so it measures the maximum depth of the surface irregularities over a given sampling length, and the largest value of the depth is accepted as a surface roughness. So in this case, 22 is the maximum depth or largest value of the depth that is accepted as a surface measurement of the surface roughness. So this method is largely used in Germany and Russia. And the drawback in this method is that it may read the same H maximum for two largely different surface textures. So this is one surface texture. Let us, if we consider the another surface texture. Okay. So for two largely different surface textures, it measures only the H maximum only. So the value obtained would not give a representative assessment of the surface. By considering only one value, we cannot assess this is the surface roughness. And the disadvantage of the same H maximum and is only a single peak or valley which gives the value is not a true picture of the actual profile of the surface. So in order to overcome this, the height H is defined as the distance between a pair of lines running parallel to the general lay of the trace, positioned so that the length lying within the peaks is at the top is 5% of the trace length. So this is at 5% of the trace length, and this is at a 10% of the trace length. Okay, so the two parallel lines, so let us, this is L1 and this is L2, are positioned such that they cut off the peaks and valleys given the mathematical constraint, that is 5% of the trace length and 10% of the trace length. Peaks are cut by 5% of the trace length and valleys are cut by 10% of the valley length, that is trace length. And H is the measure of peak to valley height. H is the measure of peak to valley height. So this is about the peak to valley height method of roughness. Next, evaluation of surface finish by central line average method. So the surface roughness is measured as the average deviation from the nominal surface. So as per the central line average method, we can define the surface rough finish as the average value of the ordinates from the mean line, regardless of the arithmetic sign of the ordinates. So we have the H1, H2, H3, H4 and so on ordinates. These are the positive ordinates, these are the negative ordinates, again these are the positive ordinates. Here we are neglecting the sign of the ordinates. We are considering only the magnitude. Okay, we can calculate the surface finish or surface roughness in two ways. One is by measuring the ordinates, that is h1, h2, and so on hn, by divided by the sampling length L. So this is one way we can calculate. And another way is by measuring the areas. What is A1, what is area A2, A3. So these A1, A2, A3, and so on AN are measured with the help of planimeter. Okay. So central line average value measure is preferred to central line average value measure is preferred to RMS value measure because its value can be easily determined by measuring the areas with a planimeter or graph, or can be readily determined by in electrical instruments by integrating the movement of the stylus and displaying the result as an average. So central line average method is most preferred one compared to the root mean square value, because in the central line average method we can measure the areas easily with the help of either planimeter or whether by drawing the graph or by using the electrical instruments. So by using the areas, we can add up all the areas and then divide by the what is the sampling length L. Next, evaluation of the surface finished by root mean square method. So in this, we can define the surface roughness as the square root of arithmetic mean values, arithmetic mean of values of squares of the ordinates of the surfaces measured from the mean line is called the root mean square method. So what we will do, we will take the square root of the arithmetic mean of values, arithmetic mean of the values of ordinates of the surfaces, square of the ordinate of the surfaces measured from the mean line. Okay, so square root of, this is the square root of what? Arithmetic mean of values, arithmetic mean by adding all the values. So we are adding all the squares of the ordinates, squares of the ordinate. Okay, from the mean line, that is number of samples, number of slices. So here we divide the total roughness profile into number of equal number of slices. That is h1, right? This gap is same as this gap is same as this gap, like that. So we'll divide into equal number of divisions, and then we'll measure what is h1, h2, h3, and so on. So in this RMS value, right, that is RQ value is typically 11% higher than central line average method or RA value. So RQ is equal to 1.1 times the RA value, right? RQ equal to 1.1 times RA value, greater than or equal to. Typically higher than, right? Typically higher than 1.1 times RA value. So it is obtained by setting many equidistant ordinates on the mean line. That is, you can calculate, you can say either y1, y2, y3 or h1, h2, h3, and then taking the root of the mean of the squared ordinates, Let us assume that the sample length is L and it is divided into n equal parts. And y1, y2, y3, yn are heights of the ordinates erected at those points. Then you can write RMS is equal to square root of, right, integration of 0 to L y square dl. So using either this formula or this formula, both are same. You can use either one for calculating the or evaluating the surface finish. Next, evaluation of surface finish by 10-point height method. So this method is a relatively simple method of analysis and measures the total depth of the surface irregularities within the sampling length. So, but it does not give sufficient information about the surface, and no contact is, no account is taken of frequency of the irregularities and the profile shape. So these are the limitations in the 10-point height method. So one is there is no sufficient information about the surface, as no account is taken of frequency of the irregularities and the profile shape. So, but it is used when it is desired to control the cost of finishing for checking the roughness or rough machining. So in that case, we use the 10-point height method. So in this method, what we will do is, so this is the surface roughness profile having the peaks and the valleys. So we'll consider the total 10, both including peaks and valleys. So that is 5 peaks, and we'll consider the 5 valleys. So this is one peak, this is the another peak, this is the another peak, another peak, another peak. How many peaks? We have the 5 peaks. How many valleys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 valleys we will consider. So in this method, the average difference between 5 highest peaks and 5 lowest peak values of the surface texture within the sampling length, and measured from the line parallel to the mean line, and not crossing the profile, So mathematically we can write the 10-point height method RZ is equal to 1 by 5. That is average of 5 peak points and average of the 5 valley points. This is the average of the 5 valley points. And this is the peak points. Peak points average minus peak points valleys will give us the 10-point height of irregularities. So this is about the today's class. Now we will summarize the today's topic contents. So we have seen the 4 types of irregularities. So in that the first one is the first order irregularities. These are the irregularities caused by the inaccuracies of the machine tool itself. And the second order irregularities, these are caused due to vibrations of any kind. And the third order irregularities, these are caused by machining due to characteristics of the process. And the fourth order irregularities, these are caused by the rupture of the material during the separation of the chip. And we defined what is sampling length. It is the length of the profile necessary for the evaluation of the irregularities to be taken into account. It is also known as the cutoff length. And what is lay? Lay is the direction of the predominant surface pattern produced by the tool marks or scratches. So it is determined by the method of production used. And there are 3 different methods for evaluating the primary texture or surface roughness. One is the peak to valley height method, and the average roughness, form factor or bearing curve. And what is the average roughness? So here the average roughness values are measured or evaluated with the help of 3 statistical methods. One is center line average method, and root mean square method, and 10-point height method. So in the peak to valley height method measures the maximum depth of the surface irregularities over a given sample length, and the largest value of the depth is accepted as a measure of surface roughness. But the drawback in that method is that it may be read only H maximum for different textures. Even though they are 2 largely different structures, it will measure only H maximum only. But in the central line average method, it is defined as the average value of the ordinates from mean line, regardless of the arithmetic sign of the ordinates. So here we neglect the sign of the ordinate values, only we will consider the magnitude. And in the second method, that is called root mean square method, it is defined as the square root of the arithmetic mean of values of square of ordinates of the surfaces measured from the mean line. And in the 10-point height method, the average difference between the 5 height peaks and 5 lowest valleys are considered. So that will give us within the sampling length, that will give us the 10-point height method. So these are the references we followed for preparing this material. Thank you.